Hey everyone. So, have you ever recorded a song track by track, and then at the end it just lacks that special sauce, that energy you feel when a band is playing together in a room? It's a massive challenge for pretty much every home producer, but there really is a secret to fixing it. So, let's dive in and break it down. You've probably asked yourself this exact question. You spend hours, maybe even days, layering all the parts, getting every note just right. And what do you get? Something that sounds kind of stiff, maybe a little robotic. I mean, it's technically perfect, but that human feel, it's just gone. It is a super common frustration, but believe me, there is a way around it. This really paints the picture, doesn't it? On one side, you've got live band energy. It's like a real-time conversation. All the musicians are constantly making these tiny, subconscious adjustments to each other. It just gels. But on the other side, that's our overdubbing challenge. We're trying to build that same feeling from scratch with isolated parts. We have to manually create something that should be happening naturally. Okay, so let's get into our very first principle, find the vibe. And you know what? We're going to start by challenging a piece of recording advice that might actually be sabotaging your tracks right from the get-go. Right? We've all heard this a million times. Always, always start with the drums. Lay down that perfect grid, lock in the rhythm, and then build everything on top of that rock-solid foundation. And logically, it makes total sense. Or does it? Well, it might be logical, but it's not always the most musical way to do things. The real secret here is to completely shift your focus. Instead of starting with the most rigid part of the song, start with the most emotional one. Find that one performance that is the absolute heart and soul of the track. So, who gets to go first? Well, maybe it's the player who just has the best natural groove for this particular song. Or maybe it's the core emotional element, like a simple acoustic guitar and vocal track. Here's the key takeaway. It is so much easier to make an emotional performance rhythmically tight than it is to force emotion onto a performance that's already been chained to a cold, robotic grid. Now let's move on to our second principle, which builds directly on the first. Edit as you go. And for this, I want you to think about building a song like you're putting together a puzzle, not like you're working on an assembly line. The old way is just a recipe for burnout, plain and simple. You record everything, and then you're staring at this giant mountain of editing, trying to force all the pieces to fit together, and you end up making compromises. The new method, on the other hand, is just so much more musical and intentional. This workflow shows you exactly how it's done. Step 1, you record a new part. Then, and this is the most important bit, you stop for a second. That's step 2. You musically edit that one part so it fits perfectly with what's already there. Only then do you move on to step 3 and record the next part. See? You're basically doing what a live band does in real time, but with total intentional control at every single step. And we're not just talking about snapping every single note to the grid here. No way. This is about serving the song. For example, maybe you nudge a keyboard note just a tiny bit ahead of the beat to create some tension, or you pull another one back just a hair to give it a heavier, more laid-back feel. You're editing for emotion, not just for perfect timing. You're sculpting the feel. All right, on to principle number 3, and this one is huge. It's called commit to a sound. And it's all about understanding a simple truth. A performance will always react to its own sonic environment. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It's such a direct challenge to that super common advice to record everything dry so you can decide on the sounds later. You think that flexibility is a good thing, but it can actually be a creative trap. So what's the big deal with recording dry? Well, the performer is basically playing in a sonic vacuum. They're trying to deliver this amazing, emotional performance without actually hearing how their part is going to sound in the final track. And the result? It's often disconnected, uninspired, and just kind of flat. But now, look at the difference here. When you record with the effects on, let's say you add a big, dreamy reverb to a vocal, the singer hears that sound in their headphones, and they instinctively react to it. They might hold a note a little longer to let that reverb tail bloom. They're performing with the sound, which creates a performance that's so much more cohesive and musical right from the start. And that brings us to our fourth and final principle. This one is really about shifting your whole mindset. Embrace the imperfect. This is where we learn to find the magic in these so-called mistakes. So what exactly is a happy accident? Well, it's way more than just a wrong note. It's an unplanned moment of pure musical magic that gives your recording its unique character. You got to start thinking of these moments as opportunities, not errors. But, and this is a really crucial distinction, this isn't just an excuse for sloppy playing. A true happy accident has to work just as well as, or ideally, even better than, what you originally intended to play. It has to make the song better. Here's a perfect example. Imagine recording a harmony vocal, and on one of the notes, the singer's voice cracks a little bit. It's a little broken. Now, it wasn't planned at all, but that little crack gave the part this incredible vulnerability that made it stand out in the mix. Instead of hitting delete, they recognized it for what it was, a moment of magic that made the song more interesting. Okay, let's wrap this all up. The big takeaway here is that creating that live band feel in your recordings isn't some happy accident. It's an intentional musical process, every step of the way. So just remember these 4 principles. 1, start with the vibe, not just the rhythm. 2, edit as you go, building it like a puzzle. 3, commit to your sounds early to inspire better performances. And 4, embrace those imperfect moments that give your music its soul. Ultimately, this whole approach is about a massive shift in focus. It's about moving away from chasing that perfect grid, because the goal isn't technical perfection. It's about creating something with real artistic impact, something that makes a listener truly feel something. And that leaves us with one last, really important question to ask yourself on your next project. Is your chase for perfection actually killing your music's soul? It's a powerful thought to take with you into the studio. Thanks for tuning in.